Our parish expenses are basically salaries. We have 28 teachers in the school, plus our principal, plus the office staff, plus maintenance people. In the parish center, we have a ministry for the Hispanics. We have a ministry for the youth ministry. We have a liturgical ministry. We have religious education ministry. We have receptionists. We have all these kinds of things. So we have a lot of expense. Most of our expense is in the salaries and the benefits. We invest in people. Are we supposed to make a profit? No, we're supposed to invest in people. As we do that, it's costly. So costly that we have a huge deficit. Last year, this year, that can't continue. So what do? Well, we have to cut expenses, obviously, right? How do you do that? Well, I gathered around myself some really wonderful, capable people who are very skilled in business, restructuring businesses, thinking things through. We also have theology people. I gathered this group, we call it the TAG team, Trusted Advisors Group. And together we looked over everything to see how can we make this really work? How can we be faithful to our mission to the school and still have a vibrant parish? And what we decided, well, what became evident, just a simple conclusion we made was we have to move to being a volunteer parish. Keep the school, make it grow even, but have the parish be a volunteer-based parish. It probably would be even healthier for the parish. So that means cutting staff at the parish center. That's been very difficult, very painful, wonderful people we've had. But that's what we made as our conclusions of what we had to do. And that's how we're redeeming the situation so that we have a future that is sustainable, and not only sustainable, but also, we think, will move into vibrancy if we get the volunteers to help fill in the wonderful pieces of work that have been done by these wonderful employees. So I hope you can help. How did we get to have such a deficit? Well, I think it was over-optimism on the part of a number of us who were trying to figure out how to put the budget together. And we expected, with 1,750 families, there should be so many dollars per family that they would give over the year. Well, in doing our review of the last year, we found out that the enrollment in our parish, registration of our parish, is half of what we thought it was. It was back in before Christmas, we did a whole new registration of our parishioners, and that's what we found out. We thought we had many more parishioners, and it wasn't that many. So we had on our books a registration of almost 2,000 families. Well, that hadn't been purged or cleaned for 10 years. And so we had lots of people that moved away, retired, died. And so that was part of our problem. Part of our problem, too, I think, was we want to do what we can do for the school, for the parish, for all the ministries. And that kind of enthusiasm needs to be tempered by the reality of what's going to be the income. It's hard to it's hard to guess what the income is going to be in a parish, because a lot of it relies on people's generosity. So we were overly optimistic. That's how we got, basically, to have this deficit that we had. On top of that, we had a flawed budget process. By that I mean, if we were projecting overly high what our income would be, and our expenses were raised up to that level, but the reality of our income was down here, that's how the deficit happened. So, this TAG team that I got together started researching and looking through every bit of the elements of the parish to see what exactly is happening here. It's not that somebody was derelict, it was just that there's so much going on in the parish. Somebody had to be on top of it. And so that's what the TAG team did, is they looked and carefully saw what is actually going on, what the expenses are, and then with this kind of deficit, what do we do? So we made the decisions, and we made that shift in model of a parish to have the volunteer effort be the main force of how the parish would operate. so that we could help our school really thrive and continue to grow. Our school is the best kept secret in Boulder. It's phenomenal. The test scores at our school are out of sight. They're so high that almost all the students click in at a beyond 12th grade level when they're at 8th grade. That's phenomenal. The athletic program is phenomenal. Anyway, the school's great, and we're invested in making that happen. So we had to make these adjustments. What we're doing for the future then is the following. The first thing we'll do, in fact we're already doing it, is tightening up the budget process so that we have really a firm idea and in fact a pessimistic idea of what our income will be, so that we budget to the pessimistic view instead of to an optimistic view. That's the first thing we're doing. We're also developing a new finance council, a finance council that can, of people who are going to pick apart absolutely everything that goes on in the parish with the great skill they've got. What else besides our new finance council, a new budgeting process? What else? Our tag team has been helping us take a look at how we can get our parish into a better business sense. But that needs to move into the background. In fact, they will dissolve as the pastoral council evolves. What will it evolve into? I see it as a task force of parishioners helping the ministries of the parish and the school thrive. In the parish ministries, with volunteers. So a lot of supervision of the different volunteer ministries that we'll have. And encourage the school. To that point, also, we want to start a school advisory council or team to be able to take a look and see how can we take the goodness of what's going on in our school and really push it into prominence. As I said, it's a secret. Do you realize that we were told for many years by the diocese not to tell people what our test scores were because it might threaten other schools? That's how good we are. Anyway, I digress. We also want to replenish our savings. We have to do that. We have aging buildings. We'll need to take care of them over time. And we can't be going to the parishioners again and again and again. Here, beg for more of this, more of that. We need to replenish those savings so that we can be on a good, sound basis. In other words, what we're going through is to provide for a very wonderful future for our parish. And I hope you can help, especially by becoming a volunteer in some field. You'll become aware of it, in some field or some area that really appeals to you. Thank you.